Good morning. Why do I look out the window? Why do I always look out the window? It's horrible out there. It's grim, it's grey, it's cold, it's windy, it's Plymouth. Then again, it is also the tail end of November, so what you going to do? Welcome back to Dice and Bolts. I'm Ross Hawklaw 2112 Kingston, and this is the increasingly irregular series of videos where I look at the various different game systems on my shelves, in my boxes, in my collection, and give a very brief rundown as to the core mechanics or the dice and bolts of how they work for resolution. And today, for the second time, I'm having a pop at Grimwild, the cinematic fantasy adventure game. This is from Oddity Press. A little bit unusual at the moment. It's kind of up in flux. However, there is a pretty much full version available from Drive-Thru RPG, or you can get a paid version that has a couple of extra bits and bobs involved in it. It's a beautiful game. I've only just recently got to get it on the table, and it works really, really well. So the core dice and bolts of the system, if we go to this one here, is a couple of d6s. And effectively, no, wrong one. That one, yeah. Effectively, what happens is when you want to resolve something, you work out which one of the four characteristics or traits that you use, brawn, agility, wits, and presence, and you roll that many d6s. So stats range from 1 to 3, 3 being particularly good, 2 being average, and 1 being whatever. And then you would roll that many dice. So say, for example, my big brawly fighter is going to go in and charge. There we go, that's better. Is going to go in and charge at a group of enemies. I would take, if my brawn is 3, I would take my 3d6 and roll them. And what we're doing is we're looking for the highest dice in the pool. So on this one, we have a 6, which is good. Effectively, the highest dice determines the degree of success. If your highest dice is a 6, you get a perfect, which means you do what you intended to do with no side effects. If your highest dice is a 4 or 5, you get a messy, which is you do what you were wanting to do, but there's going to be some pushback on it. And if the highest dice is between 1 and 3, you get a grim, which is stuff's gone sideways. So this map's very similar to the PBTA, 10 plus, 7 to 9, and 6 minus. Nice and simple. Where this one comes in, and it takes a little bit from Wildsea, is that the storyteller can add d8s, what's called thorns, to the roll, usually between 1 and 2, to represent difficulty. And the way thorns work is, if I go back to that nice roll that we had, I messed it somewhat, there we go, is if your d8 rolls a 7 or 8, it cuts the grade of result by 1 level. So on this one here, normally it will be a perfect because we've got a d6. But because the thorn, the d8, has rolled a 7, that effectively, it doesn't remove the highest dice, but it takes it from being a perfect result to being a messy result. If our highest dice were a 5, it will take it from a messy to a grim. And if our highest dice was a 1, 2, or 3, it will take it from a grim to a, oh dear, I don't remember what the name of it is, but it is effectively a critical fail. The exception to this is that if a player were to roll a pair of 6s, that's a critical success. You ignore any thorns. So even if we're on a really, really difficult roll, like that, 2 6s counter effect it. Nice and simple. And you get a bonus effect as well. Player characters have what is called Spark, which is where they can roll an extra dice. And there are some traits that allow you to roll an additional dice in certain circumstances, or some abilities, talents I believe they're called. So in theory you can be rolling a maximum of 5 dice, but generally speaking the dice and bolts of Grimwild and the Moxie system, which they were planning to release as like a system reference document, 1 to 3 6-sided dice, Look at the highest dice. 6 perfect results, 4 or 5 as your highest dice, messy success, 1, 2 or 3 as your highest dice, being a grim or a not so favourable result. That's the dice and bolts of it. Roll well, and I'll speak to you soon.